But I should go back and say, give you some information about the guys that were there. Just who were they? Now, I said they all came from Special Forces. They were Special Forces. There was no special test to say you are qualified to go to Berlin. If you had become Special Forces, you had the qualifications, with one caveat, maybe two. You had to speak an Eastern European or language or German well enough to pass as a local or to confuse the East Germans and Russians for long enough that you could do your mission. And you had to be able to accept the fact that you were going to wear civilian clothes, which was important because wearing civilian clothes meant that if you were captured by the East Germans or the Russians, you would be within probably 5 to 10 minutes shot as a spy. So with those two caveats, the first 40 people were sent in 1956. Of those 40 volunteers, no one had any problems with that. And for the next 34 years, as I said, a lot of guys served there and never gave it a second thought of what lousy odds they had in front of them. As I said, a lot of them were Americans. Probably at the beginning, 60% were first or second generation. They all spoke a language, either Hungarian or Serbo-Croat or Russian in some cases. German, of course, was the predominant language. And then about 40% were Lodge Act recruits. And the Lodge Act was Public Law 57, which was passed very early in the 50s to get Eastern Europeans, not Germans, but Eastern Europeans to join the American military just for this type of an operation. A lot of them served down in Bad Tolz. A lot of them served up in Berlin, even up into the 80s. A lot of the people that came into the unit were emigres from Eastern Europe and came into the American Army. Something we should look at doing for Iraq and Afghanistan. So quite an interesting group of people.